Good afternoon, everybody. This is Professor Rich on a dreary Saturday afternoon, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts on books and reading, brought to you by a paper bag soon to be recycled from Walmart. Who says you need high tech to make a video, huh? Well, reading has been very important to me and my life. I had trouble learning how to read. It was difficult for me. I was what they would have called then dyslexic, and it took a lot of work for me to learn how to read. But once I did, books to me were like gold and still are. But I'm putting this video together and watch this smooth transition. Voila! To show you a collection of books I have carried around with me for, 50 years or more. And the reason I have them out today is because I am giving them to my niece for my great nephew. I never had children, so I thought these would be a perfect gift for him. And I wondered why I carried these around so long, and I want to go through a little bit of that with you. This is my prayer book from school, dusty, as you see, but my great nephew will probably go to the same school and church that I did, so he's got a vintage prayer book. I was a Boy Scout. Richard was a Boy Scout. I was also a Sea Scout, but I can't find that book. But here I'm very territorial, so you can see my name in it, 1962, and it's actually kind of cool. Teaches you pretty much different games, everything you need to do to enjoy the wild. Very formulative part of my life. Here's a wonderful book, A Wrinkle in Time. Oprah just made a movie about it, and it was a reasonable hit, but it's based on this book, and I love this book. Yeah, I didn't take very good care of it, but I think that my nephew, in time, will love it. And let's look, see, I put my name on everything here, but this is a wonderful book that I've decided to let somebody else learn to love and enjoy. Now, anyone that knows me knows that I have probably spent far too much money on automobiles, having had probably 40 cars in my life. But it all began here. This was Brains Benton was a detective kid with red hair. They were already painting the stereotype of what geek and nerd would be back in the day. And the beautiful and wonderful descriptions of the craftsmanship that goes into these vintage cars just absolutely captivated me. And I read this book. Look, I carved my initials and everything. But this turned out to be a very formulative part of my life. So as I dusted everything off, I looked and I realized that at least at this stage, many of these from when I was in second and third grade, my values and a good part of what I am came from these books. Right here, Tom Swift and his Wizard camera. I am a professional photographer. I studied it in school. Look at that old fashioned contraption that he's trying to focus to capture the exploding volcano. This captivated me. Look at this. Tom Swift and his giant robot. I'm a sailor. This began it all, learning how to love the sea. A flying lab. Back in the day, you wanted to have a laboratory, and the thought of flying in space and having sparks come out of the tail here, that didn't occur back then, only in science fiction. Hardy Boys, big part of my life. I am Dutch Norwegian, so the Viking symbol mystery was one of the first I ever read. I have The Mystery of the Desert. And we had in my area growing up, it was Brick, New Jersey, the Point Pleasant area, Metedeconk, very much like Middletown, Rhode Island, and Portsmouth, Rhode Island. But we would have bookmobiles come around and you could purchase books. And it was a big deal for my mother to give me money so I could purchase books. And so I picked up all of these, and my father helped me build a shelf, and I was able to keep all of my books on the shelf. Here we have Alfred Hitchcock. This is all about solving mysteries. This was my detective phase. And more Alfred Hitchcock. More Alfred Hitchcock right here, where you learn about numismatic coin collecting and everything. Look at this, $1. That was big money in 1962. The Case of the Stolen Dummy. Look at that. So this is where my head was at. And again, I know it's going to be a wonderful gift for my nephew, or my great nephew, but everything I have just told you again is all for a reason. I looked over the statistics for reading in our course, and I haven't seen a lot of people going in and doing it. And it's really important that you do. I can see who's in and who's doing it, and we're going to talk about that more. But an assignment coming up is going to be for you to write about books or a book that made a difference in your upbringing so far. I mean, this is just from my youth. The books you see here, I'll go on to the philosophical phase coming up in another video. So let me put my sign back up. And again, this was some thoughts on books and reading by Richard Swearingen. Enjoy your day, and please recycle. Thanks.